Hey there, hi, welcome to the channel. I am Garrett, and in this video we are talking about some things that can definitely make a home look a little bit tacky and how we can fix them. Be sure you give this video a like and hit that subscribe button, join the LeChic family, and with that said, let's get into the video. The first thing that can easily make a home look tacky is too big of a reference, too impactful of a design decision. These things distract from the entire space, everything you have going on, like this example right here. This is an apartment and you can see it's got this giant mural on the wall. And this is a photographed mural. So it's like printed from a photograph someone took. And this is great. I think photography as art is wonderful, but when you do an entire wall in a mural like this, you have no repetition in the pattern, and that means you really can't put anything on that wall. We can't hang a TV, we can't back a sofa onto it. There's no art or mirror happening here because you lose the entirety of the image. So photography as art is great, but just not as a mural. Murals are in for 2023 and I love them. I think definitely look into them because they're wonderful, but not one that is photography. Now, how do we fix this space, or what would I do? First things first, I want you to look at this table and mirror that's also in the space. It's backed onto this wall in this corner by the mural, and it just looks terrible here because the wall here is the same size as the table. So the wall looks tiny, the table looks huge, we have the mirror, but it's all backed into this corner that feels really tight. I personally would take this and remove the mural and put all of this on the wall. Now here are two little photoshopped renderings of what this would look like if we took the mirror and this table. I would add sconces to give some mood lighting to the space and flank that with chairs. What I really want you to take note of in this Photoshop here is that the height of the chairs overlaps with the image. So the back of the chair is taller than the bottom of the image, and the sconces are hung in the middle there. Now, if you really like a reference like this photograph, this mural is giving, here's another example. This is actually a map of a city. This is actually a map of Paris, and while the photograph is not Paris, it's the same idea. You can take a map of the city or even take that photograph and have it printed out into like an actual photo to hang on the wall. You could have it split into four and do a collage of four photos, it's like broken up. I think that's really cool, but this has the same impact, but it's not as overwhelming and it lets us breathe a little bit in this space. Sometimes you don't have to have that singular overwhelming element. We don't have to have an accent wall in a space, especially not one like this where you actually have a lot of really amazing high quality and finished details in the space. Something else that can definitely make a home look a little tacky is cheaping out on some things, specifically like this space here. I think this has a lot going for it. This accent wall is really amazing, and I don't really love an accent wall so much, but I like something that's textured or interesting that adds a layer to the space, and I like a subtle color. The bed is nicely made. It's accessorized wonderfully. I like these nightstands and all of the decor on them. I think is great. The black ceiling fan is a little bit high contrast in my opinion. I probably would not have done black or a ceiling fan, but hey, it works with the door hardware in this space, so I think that's wonderful. What this space is missing and why it looks a little tacky is because we're trying to compensate for the fact we didn't buy a headboard with this wall detail, with this accent wall, and the way it's laid out is designed to look like a headboard without actually having a headboard. It looks to me a little bit like, oh, we don't have to have a headboard on the wall because we have all of this, and look at, we laid out this paneling in a way that looks like a headboard, and it doesn't really look like a headboard. So in this Photoshop, I actually added in a headboard. I did something in wood that's a little more traditional just to contrast the style. We have so much modern happening with the color scheme, with this style of paneling, with the black fan and hardware on the doors and furniture. All of it's very modern. So I think having that one traditional piece throws everything off. It just creates a little bit of visual interest and contrast in the space. I also like that this is wood and it kind of references back to the actual flooring in the space. Now, if you didn't like something traditional, you could certainly go with a more modern style headboard, but I do like that this is wood because I like that reference back to the flooring. I think really brings in a sense of nature, brings in some balance, and it brings that flooring up into the space as opposed to it just feeling like weighing down the space on the floor. The ultimate lesson in this space to take away is that don't cheap out on those essential elements like a headboard. You're not gonna fake it. It's always gonna look like something that's just thrown on the wall or painted there. If you have to go without one for a little while until you can find the right one, that's okay, but without a headboard, a space can kind of just look like mattress on the floor vibe, and that's not what is gonna feel relaxing or beautiful in any bedroom. The next thing that can easily make a home look tacky is if you are designing it in a way that's meant to look expensive. Usually, it just doesn't work out. It looks like you're trying to be something that you're not, or it's trying to be expensive when it's not. Focus on layering and creating a space that feels natural, that is representative of who you are, and it will feel personal. It'll feel really great, and you'll actually look well traveled. And that to me says a lot more than a space that is made to look luxurious, like this one here. You can see it's a lot of white and gold, which is great. I mean, I like white and gold together, but not when it's this fabricated. And all of this looks like it's made to match and look expensive. We have these really thick arms on a chair because we want to have this gold banding detail that matches the coffee table, that matches the sofa. We have these like logos and monograms in the rugs, and it's like, do we need to have monograms in the rug in our homes? I don't think so. We really don't even need to have that at a store. So this doesn't feel luxurious to me. It feels like it's designed to look expensive, and that doesn't always feel comfortable, as opposed to this space. This is really interesting, and I really enjoy this space and everything that's happening here because I'm curious about who lives here. I want to know more about them. We have this Bali style day bed sofa situation happening here that I think is really cool. The side tables look Moroccan. We have modern light fixtures that I think really create a sense of balance in the space, and I like this artwork. I don't know what it is, but I'm very interested in it. It looks like a poster, but is it a movie? Is it an art exhibition? Is it from a gallery or an event you went to? What's happening here? That to me looks expensive. Like this person is well traveled. They've been around the world and they curated everything. It's got a story that I want to know about. I think that's incredible. Now, one thing I will say about this space is I think this artwork is maybe hung just a little bit too high, so I went ahead and photoshopped it for you to be a little bit lower. In the original, I think the placement of the camera and the angle makes it look like the artwork is not centered, but it actually is. So I centered it in the photo, but that's not the point. I think this looks fantastic. I like this. It's just interesting, and that always says more than a space that's trying to look expensive. This to me looks like you went all over the place, all over the world. This person loves to travel and be in luxury, and they have such a great eye for detail and all of that. I want to know who this person is. The other space, I kind of feel like I already know who they are and what they're trying to tell me, so I'm okay with that. This person is very interesting and I want to know them. Something else that can make a home look a little bit tacky is when it's over-designed or too matchy-matchy. Now, you really want to avoid this, and the best way to do that is focus less on things being the exact right, perfect color together, and look a little bit more towards layers and softer tones that have some variation or a little bit of a difference in texture. This space here has a lot of matching features. We've got yellow and we've got teal, we've got a little bit of gray happening in the space, so it does feel a little bit impersonal. That's okay if you like this. If matching is your style, I say go for it and do what makes you comfortable in your home. However, this space actually reminds me of a saying, which goes a little bit something like, you need to pick a struggle. And the reason I say that is because this space has a lot of matching elements to it, but there's also just some things that make the space feel a little staged, a little impersonal, and it kind of changes the balance and the feeling you have here. This artwork is just a little bit too small for the height of these lamps and the size of this sofa. The rug is too small for how far away the sofa is from this chair. This little storage cabinet here, it feels dwarfed in the space because this is a rather large living room. So all of that being upgraded, oversized, I think would make this space feel a little bit more curated and would actually take a lot of that matchy-matchiness out of the space. So I went ahead and photoshopped this for you, and I made the artwork larger. This creates balance with the light fixtures, and it distracts a little bit from how coordinated all of the pillows are with each other. I think it draws your eye more towards that than a lot of the other things. I also increased the size of the rug, which balances out how large the sofa feels and how large the room is and how everything relates to one another. I I've actually doubled the cabinet here. So this is actually a really great trick you can use to get a larger piece of furniture without having to pay for a larger piece of furniture. Get 2 smaller pieces or even 3 and line them up together, and it creates the sense that you have one large size piece here. So I went ahead and doubled the size of this. All of that, I feel, creates a lot of balance in the space, and even though it does match very nicely and very well, it doesn't feel tacky like it kind of did before. This space feels a little bit more lived in to me, as where the other space feels like a vacation rental and just kind of like, hey, you know what, this is what they had at the store, so we got it, it matches, we threw it in there. This to me feels like somebody lives here a little bit more than it did before. Something else that can easily make a home look a little bit tacky is if you don't focus on how you are mixing the new and the old. Here's an example of a space that has a lot going on. I've actually featured this space before for a similar reason, and that is because we have 2 clashing patterns here. You have an antique rug that looks very luxurious, very high-end and beautiful, but then we have modern upholstery in the pillows on the sofa and this ottoman that is a modern interpretation of something old. So it looks new. And the reason this can look tacky is because you have something authentic and genuine like this rug here right next to something that is not authentic or genuine and is a new interpretation like these pillows. So the pillows, the ottoman, they just look cheap in comparison to this rug because the rug isn't cheap and the new upholstery maybe kind of is a little bit. I don't actually know the pricing on this, so I can't tell you if it's monetarily wise cheap, but the design detail of it doesn't align. Also, it doesn't really make sense with the color scheme that's happening here. If you can see in the background just a little bit, the chairs here have a tan and red stripe to them, which looks really amazing, and then the rugs all have a similar color scheme. So then having this aubergine damask pattern doesn't really make a ton of sense here. It actually makes it look a little bit tacky, like it's something that's supposed to look luxurious, but it doesn't actually, because it just stands out for the wrong reasons. This space could definitely benefit from either just having gray pillows on the sofa that match the sofa itself, or even pulling from those tones a very soft or muted red tone and a tan. Those pillows contrasted with the gray would actually have a really good sense of mixing the old with the new. It would pull from what's happening and feel more cohesive than it does right now. Also, there's not really a reason for this ottoman to be here. It's actually blocking a pathway and impeding the flow, so I would eliminate that because we also have a settee or a chaise here, so it's not really necessary to be there to begin with. Also, the sofa could probably sit on the rug, and that would make the space feel a little bit more connected. So bringing that rug under the sofa would actually make the space feel bigger and make this particular area in this space feel more open. I think the juxtaposition of some of these modern pieces like this black lacquered cabinet and table here contrast really beautifully with this rug. It's actually very interesting. So I would focus on maybe working that rug under the sofa and reupholstering those pillows, or even just bringing in some new ones. Eliminating that ottoman, I think, would make this space look so much more luxurious. And the contrast of these 2 elements together, this rug and this upholstery, it just distracts from the great elements this space has going on. And I think it's doing a disservice here. So eliminating that, just changing those pillows and that ottoman out, I think would make a huge difference in the look and the feel of this space. And it's really just those little tweaks, those fine details that make the big impact in a space. As a matter of fact, none of these spaces really involved with completely redecorating or getting rid of a ton of things. It's always eliminate one small element and then incorporate some of the newer things or other pieces you already have going on in the space. Like, there's not really a huge cost to moving a sofa on a rug, and maybe you get some new pillow covers. That's a great affordable way to make this space look really luxurious and really cohesive that doesn't involve getting rid of any really beautiful or expensive elements. Well, there you have it, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please share with me in the comment section down below and let me know what is one thing that you think immediately makes a home look tacky, that you cannot stand and wish everyone would just get on board and get rid of. Share with me because I want to hear from you. Be sure you give this video a like and hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notification to get notified every time I upload a video. And I also know that you know someone that they are redecorating their home and it needs a little GarrettLeChic touch to it. Share this video with them because friends help friends, and I will see you in the next one.